probe to the Russian election meddling inquiry. But Obama's involvement in the Flynn case is troubling for a number of reasons. Not the least of which is the fact that Obama and Flynn had an ugly breakup in 2014. Most people forget this. During his tenure at the Defense Intelligence Agency, Flynn spoke out against Obama's worldview. He was fired as a result. So what to make of all of this? Here with a unique perspective is Kevin Brock. He's the former Assistant Director of Intelligence for the FBI. Kevin, with all of your experience, why did the FBI continue to pursue Flynn when they had a transcript and knew he'd done nothing wrong talking to Kislyak? Why do you think Obama got in the middle of all of this?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. And what we know is that it's been pretty firmly established the FBI had no business to be in the room interviewing General Flynn. That's been exposed. They didn't have a legal basis to be there. That's the first part. There's three prongs to this, Raymond, and that is that the FBI had to we had to establish firmly that Michael Flynn, there was injustice done to him. I think the Attorney General has settled that with his motion to dismiss. Right. Secondly, there has to be some examination of what the motivation was behind that, and then thirdly, somebody has to be held to account. So the second part is what you're addressing here. We know that from the 302 that Peter Strzok wrote, that the interview was focused on policy differences between the outgoing Obama administration and the incoming Trump administration. I have authored and read thousands of 302s. I've never read one like this, where the interview was centered on policy issues and didn't even address any possible criminal or counterintelligence predications. And the Logan Act is a deflection. It was never taken seriously. It's not to be considered.
That's an old relic. Should never have been invoked. Andy McCabe flat out denied any wrongdoing on CNN today. I want you to watch this.
General Flynn was not targeted. He was properly investigated in a well-predicated case, a case whose validity has been proven not just by those of us who are involved, but later by the Mueller investigation. He had reason to believe he presented a threat to national security. I still think that those things are worthy of investigation.
Kevin, was what happened to General Flynn your idea of a properly investigated case? First off, respond to that.
What Andy McCabe just said there is an untruth, and it's been established. If you look at the FBI's own documents that have been released, and these documents are very telling. They document that there was never sufficient predication to open up a case against him in the first place. They found no derogatory information. There was no reason to keep the case open, and they were not to continue with an interview of the general. Peter Strzok and Andy McCabe grabbed that before the case could be closed and decided to construct some type of artifice to go in and talk to the general. They took advantage, in Comey's word, of a disorganized Trump administration. They had no business being in that office.
Kevin, all day long I've been hearing that this is normal operating procedure for the president to be involved in these national security issues. There was no problem here. Why was Sally Yates surprised then that he had knowledge of the surveillance? Very quickly.
Well, I think the fact that the conversation took place between General Flynn and Ambassador Kislyak was of interest to the Obama administration, A, because of possible change in policies, and B, because of their distaste for General Flynn. I think they saw this as an opportunity to disrupt the general. And I think what we have to find out, Raymond, this is critically important. Did the FBI conduct this interview at the behest of the White House, or was it motivated by their own now well-established personal biases and prejudices against the president? That has to be determined. If it's the former, well, if it's either, it's abominable.
A lot of questions.
But if it's the former, then it has to be fleshed out, Raymond.
Yeah. Breaking just minutes ago, Yahoo News is reporting that President Barack Obama, in a private call with former members of his administration, said this: the fact that there is no precedent for anybody can find for someone who has been charged with perjury just getting out scot-free, that's the kind of stuff where you begin to get worried that our basic understanding of the rule of law is at risk. Kevin, your response, finally.
My response to that is the abrogation of the rule of law was conducting an investigation that was not legally predicated. So if I go in and I talk to you, Raymond, about something about something that is not a federal crime as an FBI agent, and I accuse you of doing it, and I have proof that you did it, but it's not a federal crime, and you lie to me, there's no materiality there because there's no reason for me to be investigating it in the first place.
Because I'm lying to you about things that are not criminal and not relevant to your investigation.
Exactly that, and that was what Attorney General Barr took pains to point out in his motion to dismiss.
Very
it's
good.
untethered.
Kevin, we're going to have to leave it there, but we will.